Hello and welcome to my therapy session. After watching the Snow White live action movie, where camera work was worse than the one present in my own videos, just for the record, no, you are not tripping, I'm not using a camera, I wanted to welcome back some long lost faith in humanity into my life. There's no better way to achieve such a result than looking at the sweet embrace of justice. Johnny Somali, funnily enough, was someone I did mention a couple of times on this channel already, just because it'd be hard-pressed to find a better example of somebody who shouldn't have access to the internet because they are mentally stuck at the age of 12 in the role of a class clown worldwide. And I actually feel like I'm insulting every 12-year-old by even comparing him to that age group, which wouldn't be possible if it weren't for the fact that you can simply be an absolute garbage of a human being and make it your profession thanks to streaming platforms. Not only that, but also be privileged to lead a pretty cool life of traveling abroad around the world. Now, you may think that I'm being a pathetic hater while saying all of that. Why would I be mad about somebody's success and questioning their work, right? See, despite what you may think while taking a first glance at my channel, I'm all for everybody getting opportunities and changing their lives thanks to creating something on social media and sharing it with others, expressing themselves in some kind of way. I think it's really cool. I also think that content about traveling and getting to know and understand an entirely different culture is such a great concept. So the problem here is that, yeah, there's none of that. Seriously, remember the magic word that I used just now? Respect? Yeah, good luck on looking for that in our fellow Johnny's productions. He's known for traveling, yes. But that's just a setup, the stage. Because the script and play itself is pretty much the same wherever this dickhead decides to go next. And let me tell you, he's running out of options to choose because nobody wants to see him anywhere. It's like this dude will be deported from Earth itself by 2030, the way both basically all streaming platforms and even entire countries don't want to welcome him. But we'll get back to that since there's one country that wants him to stay a little too much for his comfort. Because now I'll give you the Krabby Patty formula on how to be insufferable, intellectually sponsored by Johnny himself. He flies to a country, doesn't follow the rules within said country, doesn't respect the culture that applies to every other individual there, is being a complete degenerate and ruins people's days by making them uncomfortable, insulting them, and being a nuisance to workers that didn't do anything wrong and just want to finish their shift without having to deal with the first ever case of somebody failing an EQ test, and, oh no, facing the consequences of his actions and making viral clips out of it afterwards. So unexpected. Record and repeat every single time. I told you I knew about him and his actions for a while now, so why am I making this video just now? Simply because Johnny Somali is a self-proclaimed troll, and you can't be sure what information about his endeavors are fully real, what he really is like, etc. And to be honest with you, I straight up dislike people like that, like on a personal level. Those who cover themselves behind the mask of, oh, I'm just trolling, just a meme, you know? Why are you taking it so seriously? You don't actually know me for real? Like every random person passing by should be in on the joke because he's the one who made it. And look, there's a camera there. No, humans are not your plaything, you pathetic egomaniac. You shouldn't be able to forcefully make content out of them. But hey, that's the world in which we are living, I guess. Let's put that somber note aside though, because I'm here with good news, as apparently you can't just do anything without facing consequences simply because you are recording and live streaming the crimes you are committing. It may sound ironic, but looking at some streamers and what have they done without facing such repercussions for offenses like these, I'm genuinely saying that you can color me surprised. See, at the tail end of 2024, this public humiliation fetishist graced with his presence South Korea because the society there wasn't already overworked and stressed out cooling off, so they needed some much needed fun in their lives. Such a considerate person our little Johnny is. And there, watch out because this is going to surprise you, he was cosplaying as a more hostile version of Harry from Dumb and Dumber for the pleasure of his ever insulting him viewers. So in other words, he was just being his usual self. I don't care if he wants to think he's smarter than all of us under the pretense of being a troll. At that point, this is just you. You became what you played as. This journey would be no different than any other one because he's an insanely shallow and boring one-trick pony who wouldn't be able to entertain an audience of barely sentient children without being a bother to everyone around and making them react interestingly in his stead. But this time, our modern day Einstein overdosed on Molly a little more than before, thus making his calculations go haywire while he was working his magic on the drawing board just before choosing the destination of his next trip. Seeing as South Korea's laws are not only quite strict, but also once you do break them, you are severely screwed. The charges there are enough to make you a believer in the holy Bible of South Korea's rulebook. They definitely aren't enough for the ultimate lol cow though. So in between being on the receiving end of his rudimentary ass whooping delivered with love and care by local citizens, he also got arrested and was presented with 4 charges, while he was already prohibited from leaving the country before that for his previous offenses, such as disrespecting a statue that has a lot of significance to the culture and history of South Korea, because of course this troglodyte did that. It's barely worth mentioning among many different offenses. He made an apology video around the same time, bawling his eyes out. Really made me feel the sincerity. Personally, I forgave him immediately. Really would have him become clear of all charges myself if it was up to me. It wasn't though. And about 4 months later, because that's how court cases work everywhere if you didn't know, during his trial, in which he proceeded to try making more content off of him being a troll, pulling up late with an offensive hat on, he pled guilty to 3 of 4 previously mentioned charges, which already pretty much guarantees him prison time. It's just a matter of how long of a sentence will he face, seeing as just one charge of obstruction of official duties can lead to up to either 5 years of prison or a really hefty fine in the best case scenario. And a friendly reminder that Johnny is already guilty by law of 2 of those, with an additional charge added up to it. It's interesting to see that the Korean government wants to make him an example of what will happen if tourists get similar ideas to our renowned internet celebrity, which makes his situation all the more hopeless. It doesn't seem to bother him at all, however, seeing as he keeps on making content out of getting arrested while his situation was already in shambles. And you know why he's doing that? Because he's getting donations that challenge him to do so. I'm being real. It's not about the crazy illegal stuff he's doing. It's about the act of getting arrested. The rest is just a lead up to that climax, to that final destination. I feel insane just thinking about it. Are we dead ass trapped in some kind of a matrix? Is this some kind of like a psychological project testing my limits? Because for the life of me, I can't fathom that people like this actually exist. Again, how can you say it's trolling when it makes you lead your entire life in a terrible direction? It's more of an addiction at this point. Addiction to attention. Not positive attention, no. Just attention, period. I said he's like the class clown because it's insanely accurate. I can't even say he's doing it for the money, since he proved he can jeopardize his lifestyle just to keep doing that. He's not Neon, another IRL streamer who's farming content and runs away once he's faced with consequences. No. Johnny Somali not only embraces it, but also keeps digging himself into a bigger hole. Again, a great yet sad example of somebody who's willing to ruin their entire lives for the sake of internet notoriety. And when you look at him in this way, see him as an addict who's willing to ruin his life just to get another headline written about him, this case becomes quite sad. Should we empathize with him then? Hell no! The case itself is sad, but the person deserves everything that he's currently getting and what he will get in the future. Alright, hold up. It's the voice of reason up in here. I don't visit this channel oftenly, but I gotta update you on this. The case was postponed for the second time now. It's gonna happen in May. I didn't want to mention it before it was official, but another charge, one involving a fake AI created video with sexual undertones of him and a Korean streamer that doesn't even know he exists, was recently added to his account. Because even in a completely fabricated through his mind scenario, not a single woman wants to be near this person without being paid up front beforehand. I wouldn't be surprised if an anime girl would send his ass to court if he tried that kind of a prompt. On the same note, he's being further investigated for harassment of children, so yeah. If you for some reason didn't have enough incentive to be disgusted by this cartoonishly evil character, then you can thank me in the comments for providing more. Now, that weighing 50 pounds looking as dude will explain why the video is up now and not in May, when I would be able to update you on the latest news regarding the case again. You may wonder why I didn't wait a little longer, since I already waited for so long to just talk about him in a standalone video, and the answer is because it doesn't matter. I'm not here to report on his life getting ruined and how much it's ruined. I just wanted to show his case in a little bit of a different light, not really, but a little bit different light, before the court case decides how much of a criminal he really is, because he is one. Hey, remember me mentioning Neon? I made a video about him and fake news surrounding him a while ago now, so you should go and watch it if you want to learn more about the differences between jails and prisons, because for some reason I've done a lot of research regarding that there, and it will be useful for the topic of this video too. And since we are on the topic of fake info, then you can also check out the beautiful tale about the day and night of YouTube's commentary side, so about Sun and Moon. Thank you for watching, and I'll be here for the next session.